Good morning, Hustle Nation. Yes, today we're talking 15 signs that you'll never be rich, my friend. Yeah, I know I'm usually Mr. Positive, Mr. Optimistic, but sometimes there are things that we should do and there are things that we should stop doing. And today we're going to talk about things that you should stop doing if the name of the game for you is to become wealthy, and in particular, if you want to pass down some generational wealth to your children. So do me a favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand. Just don't post any links and smash that share button, people, and let's get to it. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. Good morning and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur from personalbranding365.com. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are building any sort of business, then you must know that building a personal brand can attract to you the ideal clients that you want, can also convert those clients to raving fans and paying customers if you have the right system set up. And if you want to learn how to do that stuff, then you need to go over to personalbranding365.com. Personalbranding365.com. Get my free 7 keys to building a powerful personal brand. And if you really want to go to the next level, then go ahead and invest the $7 into the actual ebook and the video resource guide to help you build your personal brand. So y'all know, man, we love to be positive. We love to give it to you, the strategies and the tips that you need to take yourself to the next level in business and your finances. But every now and then, man, sometimes you just got to hear the raw, unadulterated truth about what's stopping you from getting to that next level. And that's what we're going to do here today. If you have not already, go ahead and smash that share button for your boy. That is one way that you could show your love and support for the show. If you also want to purchase things like these handy dandy mugs to support the show, then go over to thorntononlinemarketing.com. We got folks in the St. Louis market, then this will be a great gift for them. But I'm going to go ahead and hit the share button myself. And then we're going to get into today's topic. Of course, we've got a couple of announcements. We've got the question of the day. We got the quote of the day. And we got 1 minute motivation, which I know you guys have come to love because that is my favorite segment of the show as well. So let me invite some people from my personal page to come tune into the show. And don't hesitate to share the name of your business and or your brand. So I know we got Dr. Autonomy in the building from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Good morning, my brother. Anthony Munoz is in the building. And Israel says, I'm doing a watch party too, because this is an excellent point. So a couple quick announcements, man. If you know any single moms that want to get a financial makeover, right? Normally it's $228 for our financial makeover, but we are actually, for single moms, I got about 4 spots left where we're going to do a 50% off of that to help a single mom who wants to increase their cash flow, get their taxes down, get their credit scores up, get their debts down, and learn how to invest, as well as add another stream of income to their household. If you know any single moms like that, tag them in this video. Have them text keyword single mom to 314-874-6887. Again, if you are a single mom or you know single moms, if you have them text keyword single mom to 314-874-6887, I want to share with them a way that they can improve their cash flow and add another stream of income. And we got a 50% off special that we're running right now for our single mothers, man. I was raised by a single mom on welfare, so I know the struggles and the pains of single mothers. It was 6 of us, and my mom, did all she could to make sure that we didn't struggle or lose faith in humanity and all that, even though we didn't have the best of everything. So I want to help some single moms in that way. Question of the day for today. You guys know if you answer the question of the day, you get entered into a drawing to win a free vacation. That's right. You get a free vacation, and we go live and do a live drawing every Wednesday at noon Central. So today's question is, what is your strategy for overcoming fear? And when you answer the question of the day, put QOTD, then give your answer. That's how we know whose name to put in the drawing. Question of the day. What is your personal strategy for overcoming fear? If you put QOTD and give us your answer, you're going to be entered into a drawing to win a free vacation. Shout out to my girl Shiro, and happy birthday to my girl Shiro, who celebrated her birthday over the weekend, and she won last week's drawing, and she chose to go to Daytona Beach, I believe. So that is the question of the day. Let me see, what else do we have before we get into today's topics? Again, if you have not already commented the name of your business and or your brand, then please do so I can give you a free business shout out. And I really like to encourage you guys to do that, not just on my stream, but whatever stream that you're tuning in on. It's okay for you to say hello to whoever's hosting the stream and say what it is that you do. There's nothing wrong with that when you do it tastefully. Now, when you start spamming your links and stuff like that on people's stream, that's just totally disrespectful. But I would jump on somebody's stream and I would just say, hey, Financial Health Mentor is in the building out of St. Louis, Missouri. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But here's the problem. Some of you guys haven't created a brand yet, right? Some of you guys haven't created a brand yet, and yet you are in business, right? Name a business that you know that has any measure of success in any industry that does not have a brand that you recognize, right? So that's why I offer the free 7 keys to building a powerful brand. All you got to do is go to personalbranding365.com, get that absolutely free. And then if you want to take a deeper dive, I do have a $7 ebook that you can grab over there as well. So you guys know we like to start the show with a quote of the day. And today's quote I heard this morning, it's a quote from Shakespeare. It says, "There is no right or wrong, but only that the mind makes it so." I talk a lot about perspective here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And I think that is important because a lot of times our perspective is what's holding us back. And what is your perspective? It is the way that you see and interpret things, right? So the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show is a quote from Shakespeare that says, "There is no right or wrong, but only that the mind makes it so. So you, based on the way you interpret things, the way you see things, the way you feel about things, you determine right or wrong. And I'm not talking about things that are against the law or against the law. And I think this goes into when someone has treated you fairly or when someone has righted you or wronged you, right? I know some people who literally believe the entire world is out to get them, right? I know people, based on how they perceive everything, believes the entire world is out to get them. I can't say, hey, you look nice today. Oh, bro, that's a sharp suit you got on, without them, based on how they perceive, based on what they make right and wrong in their mind, flip it into something negative. And just some people are just like that, man. So are you doing what you can do to develop a mindset that sees more of the world through a positive lens than a negative lens? Now, I'm not saying be naive, man, and not peep game and not recognize when the hateration, holleration is real. But man, some people, when I tell you, you can't give some people a compliment without them flipping it into something negative, right? So today's quote of the day, if you got a special quote, go ahead and drop that in the comments for me today. There is no right or wrong, but only that the mind makes it so. It's all about how you see things. It's all about your perspective. Today, we're talking about 15 signs that you'll never, ever, 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 as I channel my inner Andre 3000, be rich if you don't address these things. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this is a 2-part episode. There's no way we're going to get through all of these 15 in one show. But part 2 is going to be on Thursday, because you guys know tomorrow we got the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. Wednesday, I had a very special guest coming on to share why collaboration beats competition. By collaboration beats competition any day of the week. So let's get into some of these things. And of course, you guys know I'm not going to leave you hanging. We're going to go through about 7 of these today. And then I'm going to give you some antidotes. I'm going to give you some things that you could do, because some of us have or what I call poor habits only because we don't know what's possible, right? I'm going to show you how, if you could discipline yourself to put together $150 a month, $200 a month, to put to the side for your future. I'm going to show you what that could become in 20 years, 25 years, right? I'm talking about building generational wealth. So I'm going to help you with that. Jay Miles got his quote of the day. You must sacrifice for what you sacrifice for what you or what you want will be sacrificed. So sacrifice for what you want, or what you want will be sacrificed. I love that. That's a great quote, Jay. Appreciate you guys for always participating in the show. So let's go with, on the Cortez Hustle Show, today we're talking 15 signs you'll never be broke. Now, this is coming from an article on alux.com. alux.com, alux.com. If you want to go over there and read the full article, let me just go ahead and paste that in the comments. And if you're listening to this on the podcasting apps, then this link will be in the show notes as well for you to go over and check out the full article, because of course we can't read every single word in this article. But I thought this was very fitting, because again, sometimes it's one thing to know what to do, but you also have to know what not to do, right? And we have some habits that are keeping us from succeeding, and especially when it comes to our finances. So the number one sign that you will never be rich, according to this article on alux.com. Let me just share this screen with you guys real quick. All right. Says number one, you don't understand basic math, right? And this is no insult to someone not being able to count, right? No, this is you understanding that becoming wealthy is a mathematical process, right? It says, we're already trimming away at the bushes. Making money is a mathematical process. This is how much you earn per deal, per hour. Out of this, you pay a portion of your to your suppliers and your employees. Out of what's left, you pay a percentage as tax, and then you reinvest whatever your share of the profit is into other income generating assets, right? Guys, I want you to write this formula down. There is only one wealth building formula in the entire world. There has only ever been one. There will only always be one. Now, there's a lot of different variances to this formula, but there is only one. And the formula is this: cash, asset, cash. That's the formula. Cash, asset, cash. Every time you get your hands on some cash, ladies and gentlemen, you should be using some of it to buy, build, or invest in an asset that's going to bring you more cash. And when that becomes your life's habit, ladies and gentlemen, you will begin to build wealth on autopilot. Cash, asset, cash. I know it seems very rudimentary, but trust me, every time, whether you get cash from a job, whether you get cash from a side hustle, whether you get cash from a business, whether you get cash as a gift, I don't care where it comes from. You should always peel off a little bit to buy, build, or invest in some sort of asset that's going to bring you more cash if you want to start building wealth on autopilot. Number two, we're talking about 15 ways or 15 signs that you will never, ever be rich unless you make some changes, y'all. Because that's the good news. The good news is if you are caught up in any of these habits, you can change. That's the good news. Number two, you focus on saving instead of earning. Robert Kiyosaki is famous for saying savers are losers. And you guys know I love to play on words, right? I used to be a rapper in another life, right? And in the world of wordplay, that's called a double entendre. That means in both contexts, that phrase is right? Savers are losers, meaning savers are losers as people. You are a loser, right? And he could be calling you a loser, but he also could be meaning that savers are losers, meaning savers are people who are losing money. And in both contexts, the phrase is correct. Because if you're trying to build wealth and you're focused on saving, you're losing, right? Because there's something called inflation in this economy based on the dollar not being backed by anything, right? You can go to a search on the creature of Jekyll Island and start to understand the dollar being taken off the gold standard in the 70s and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, what you got to realize is that the cost of goods and services are always going up because the value of the dollar is always going down. So every year your dollar buys less. So if you're saving and that is your focus, then you might as well have your money under the mattress and let mice eat at it, because that's what inflation does. It eats at any amount of money that is sitting stagnant. Guys, it's called currency for a reason, because in order to get the best use of it, you got to keep it moving, baby. And how do you keep your money moving? Is when you invest your money, it's always moving, because the investment houses that have your money, they're constantly doing things with it to make it flip, to make it double, to make it grow, right? So number 2 way that you know that you will never be rich is if you focus on saving instead of earning. This is the major difference between people who are working to become rich and people who are trying not to be poor. I call it playing defense when you don't even have anything to defend. You're playing defense when you don't have anything to defend, right? Especially if you are young. Man, if you are in your 20s or in your 30s and you now working a job and a half and running a business, you tripping. Because you got to do that while you have the vibrance and the energy to do that, right? It says you can save your way into the middle class, but you cannot save your way into billionaire status, right? The only way to really get rich is to earn more and invest it. It's a simple process. You figure out how to generate more money, then you take this money and invest it in other projects that in turn generate you even more money, and you repeat the process. Come on, man. Let's go back to our formula. What is the formula? He just gave it to you. Cash, asset, cash. You take your cash, you buy, build, or invest in an asset that's going to bring you more cash, and you repeat the process, and you make that your life's habit, right? Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to answer the question of the day. If you answer the question of the day, put QOTD followed by your answer. You'll be entered into a drawing, which happens every Wednesday at noon Central, where we will give away a free vacation. The question of the day is, what is your strategy for overcoming fear? And you guys know I give my answer to the question towards the end of the show. Right now, we are a little late. Normally, we at 7:20, we go with our 1 minute motivation, but it's 7:23. So I got excited about that number 2. So let's go ahead and break for our 1 minute motivation here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Is where I play a 1 minute motivational clip, and you guys comment your takeaways, and then I'll give a couple of my takeaways, and we shout out our sponsor for today. So let's dive in to 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
The road to power is in taking responsibility. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility, and your responsibility alone.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same, as we are liberated from our own fear. Our presence automatically liberates others.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
Period. End of story. You want something, go get it. Who's got a takeaway that they are willing to put in the comments today from 1 minute motivation? You guys know how much I believe in personal growth and self-development. You guys also know that I understand that personal growth and self-development is always happening, right? I had a good friend teach me this a couple years back, Dr. Jerry Bobo. He says, personal growth and self-development is always happening. It's not just when you're doing something positive, you're reading high performance habits from like the godfather of positivity, right? No, it's always happening. The question is, are you intentionally controlling it, or are you growing in the wrong direction, right? So I like to be intentional with my personal growth and self-development. So a couple quick takeaways that I got from that thing. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, right? It says taking responsibility is the road to power. Taking responsibility is the road to power. I'm creating this world of mine, and if it's upside down, that's my fault. I've got to take responsibility for that, right? It's our light, not our darkness. Never shrink yourself so that somebody else can feel better about themselves, right? Never shrink yourself so that other people can feel good about themselves, right? Facebook user from the group, always put your name when you're tuning in from the group. We are in control of our own destiny. Life happens, but it's always about our response to the situations. Yeah, man, life is going to happen. End the story, right? Well, I guess it's not in the story. The end of the story is, how are you going to respond when life happens? And then the last clip from Pursuit of Happiness, I remember that scene quite vividly, because Will first slapped the ball out of his son's hand and said, man, put that down. And, because he didn't want him focusing on basketball, right? But then he had to come back and say, man, listen, you got a dream. You got to protect that dream. Don't let nobody take your dream from you, not even me, right? Are you protecting your dream, right? And let me shout out the channel that this is on, and I'll give you guys the link to the actual video, because this particular video is a couple minutes long, so that you can go and listen to it for yourself. But this comes from Co-Mixed. That's KOMIXED channel on YouTube. And here's the link. Again, that will be in the show notes if you're watching this, or if you're listening to the actual podcast. It's called Co-Mixed is the channel, KOMIXED. And the name of the actual video is Don't Waste Your Time and Chase Your Dream. So that was 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And 1 Minute Motivation is brought to you by Monetize My Life Academy, the premier digital marketing mastermind. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are trying to figure out how to take your business and or your brand online and you need some help, that's what the digital marketing mastermind is for. Is to help entrepreneurs understand the power that lies within this platform called the internet, and then all of the applications that live on this platform. How do you best leverage them to build an attractive, powerful, profitable personal brand that will attract to you your ideal prospects and clients, convert those ideal prospects and clients to raving fans and paying customers, mostly on autopilot? If you are interested in a mastermind that's going to help you do that, then you got to go check out www.monetizemylifeacademy.com. All right, I'm just going to put that in the comments so that it is there for those who may be interested. Now, we are talking about 15 ways that you will know that you are not on the path to getting rich or becoming wealthy. See, we got to realize, guys, that success, while not built in a day, is built daily, right? And I wish I knew who said that first, because I love to give credit to where credit is due. But somebody once said that success is not built in a day, but it is built daily. And I think it was my man Jay Miles that says that brought up the fact that there is duality in the world, or the law of polarity, right? Well, guess what? If success is not built in a day, but it is built daily, so is failure. See, you didn't just lose today. Today might have been the manifestation of the loss, but you've been losing daily for a long time, right? We all watched the Super Bowl last night. The Kansas City Chiefs didn't lose the Super Bowl just last night. They had been losing the Super Bowl for a while leading up to it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't just win the Super Bowl last night. They had been winning the Super Bowl in their daily activities and habits leading up to the game. And man, speaking of which, just got to tip your hat to the man, Tom Brady. I don't think we will ever see 7 Super Bowl championships won by a single player. I don't think we'll ever see that again. That's just dope. Now, Mahomes could. I mean, he's young. He could do it. But success is built daily, and so is failure. So let's talk a little bit more about these 7 habits that if you have these habits, you're not going to win the money game. But the good news is you can change. So number 1 was, if you don't understand basic mathematics, it's going to be hard for you to get rich or build wealth, because it's a mathematical equation to getting wealthy, right? Number 2, if you focus on saving instead of earning, right? If you focus on saving instead of earning, you're not going to get there. Because think about when you save, how many guys have ever saved some money and you were saving for a particular thing, but then something in life happens where you have to go into that saving and then start all over, right? Or you have experienced those setbacks. Don't focus on saving, focus on earning. How can I earn more, right? How can I increase my means, right? Number 3, you spend more than you earn. This is a lot of people, man. You know, yours truly included. Listen, I tell you guys all the time, man, I'm not talking to y'all, I'm talking to me. I'm just talking out loud where y'all can hear, right? This is for me. When I do this study and I'm looking at these different things, I'm pouring into my life what I need to hear. Cortez, you will never, ever build wealth and become a billionaire if you continue to spend more than you earn. Talking to me. I'm just talking out loud where y'all can hear, right? If you spend more than you earn, not only you're not going to be wealthy, you're likely to end up poor, right? For some reason, people care more about appearances than they do about their well-being. There's no shame in not being able to afford something. The realization you can't right now is what should motivate you to get it later. What do people do? They borrow money in order to buy things they don't really need, just so people they don't really care about won't look down on them. Man, I hope y'all get that. Cortez, I hope you get that, right? It's not about appearances. This is a marathon and not a sprint. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I can sprint to the store right now. I can sprint to the dealership right now and get my hands on something nice. But is it going to get me where I want to be 40 years from now? Right? That is the question, ladies and gentlemen. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And stop trying to impress people who 9 times out of 10 are also struggling financially because of the same syndrome. They're trying to impress you, you're trying to impress them, and both of y'all are going to the poorhouse trying to impress each other. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Don't forget, answer the question of the day. Question of the day is, what is your strategy for overcoming fear? If you put QOTD and give your answer, we will then put you in a drawing for a free vacation. And the drawing happens every Wednesday at noon Central. QOTD, then give your answer to the question of the day. What is your strategy for overcoming fear? Right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, we're talking about 15 signs that you will never, ever be wealthy or rich if you continue with some of these habits that most of us have dealt with over time. This is an article that comes from alux.com. I put the link to the article in the show notes as well as in the comments if you're watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you have not already, smash that share button. Then stop being selfish, man. You're getting this good content, this good information this morning. Share it far and wide. And when you do share it, use hashtag Cortez Hustle. Because when I go check the hashtags, I like to see who's really rocking with me. And I would love to share you in my stories and give you a shout out. All right. So first 3 of the 15 ways you know you'll never be rich is you don't understand basic math. Getting rich is a mathematical equation. We also know that getting rich starts in your mindset. Number 2, you focus on saving instead of earning. That's not how wealthy people think. Number 3, you spend more than you earn. Number 4, right? Let's get into number 4. Number 4 way that you know you will never, ever be wealthy is you take advice from friends and family who are not successful. You take advice from friends and family who are not successful. How many times do we have to say this? You are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. Now, if your 4 closest friends are dirt poor, you're going to be the 5th. Your circle defines who you are, the ideas you engage with, and are either the reason why you're going to go beyond your potential, or they're going to be the ones holding you back from reaching it. It's not rocket science, y'all. It's not rocket science. Just like there is negative peer pressure, there's also positive peer pressure. Negative peer pressure says, hey, man, come jack your life off with me, man, and just don't try to be successful. Let's keep it average, man. Let's go waste our time doing things that are not productive. And you have people around you that at this particular stage in their life, that's all they care about. Going to the club, what's going on in TV, what's going on in the circle in terms of gossip. That's all they care about, right? And this is the no judgment zone. If you like it, I love it, right? But I'm talking to people who have an aspiration to elevate. I'm not talking to people who are comfortable where they are. I'm talking to the people who have an aspiration to elevate. You will never elevate if you don't change your circle. Period. What's up, Sharita from Southern Maryland in the building? If you don't change your circle, right? What is the saying? If you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. It's easier said than done. I get it. And here's why it's so hard. And I'm going to help you guys break through today. And if you guys have a breakthrough, I want you to comment breakthrough from this, right? Because this is why it's so hard to separate yourself from those who are holding you back a little bit, not because they're intentionally holding you back, because they just don't want to release. They want you to be with them, right? One of the reasons it's so hard to change our associations is because A, we're social creatures. B, God created us to be interdependent, right? Not independent, not dependent, but interdependent. We should be able to rely on and count on each other. And it's because of this, it gets difficult for us to separate ourselves, right? Here's why it's so difficult. Because that negative friend that you have, and all they want to do is gossip, all they want to do is go to the club and kick it, all they want to do is watch TV all day or play video games all day. That friend that you're ready to pull away from because you got greater aspirations, that very friend was there for you when you were at your lowest moment. And because they were there for you when you were at your lowest moment, you pulling yourself away from them on your pursuit of greatness makes you feel guilty. I have some friends. Some of you guys know my story. Some of you guys are very new to who I am, but I suffered a literal mental breakdown about 20 years ago. Right? When we are in church, and some of you guys have Baptist roots, some of you guys are from the South, and you know that when you're in church, there's a part of the service where you get to give your testimony. And we would hear over and over, people wake up and say, hey, I want to give an honor to God, who's the head of my life. And I want to give honor and reverence to the pastor and all the members in the pulpit. I want to first thank God for waking me up and clothing me in my right mind. Now, most of the people with that testimony have no idea what it means to wake up outside of their right mind. But I do. I literally lost my mind, y'all. And there were some people in my life during that time that helped me through that. But when I got through it and I came out on the other side and I wanted to elevate, I wanted to grow, I wanted to pursue my dreams of building a media empire that will one day rival Ted Turner and Walt Disney, I started going or growing in a different direction, and they didn't want to come. Guys, I had to move on. Even though they were there during my darkest time, when I needed them the most, they were there for me. And when I started to grow and I started to try to pull them with me and they resisted, I felt a little guilty about moving on. Let me ask you something. Why would you feel guilty for leaving someone exactly where they want to be? Why would you feel guilty for leaving someone where they want to be? And this is no judgment to any of my friends who helped me through that situation. I wanted to be in a different place and they wanted to be where they were. So we just grew apart. Now, I still love them to death. They still love me to death. When I see them, it's all love. But you know what I did? I just made sure that they know there's an open invitation. Anytime they want to come and get this online money with me, anytime they want to get on this positive train, anytime they want to exercise their ambitions and build a business, I'm right there. I got the websites for them. I got the tools for them. I got the resources to help. I'm there. But I couldn't stay where they were because that's not where I wanted to be. So one of the reasons it's hard to leave those circles is because that homegirl might have been right there when you was going through that domestic violence situation and you had to divorce that man and escape with your kids in the middle of the night. You have a homegirl who was right there with you, but your homegirl don't want what you want. That homeboy might have taken that charge for you back in the day. He might have done time for you, but he still wants to run the streets and you want to get out of there. It's hard to leave that because you feel guilty that you're leaving that person behind. Never feel guilty about leaving a person where they want to be. But if you love that person, then you should always make sure that they know they have an open invitation to elevate, to come and meet you where you are now, right? So number 4 way that you know you will never be rich is if you're taking advice from friends and family who are not successful. Your circle defines who you are, the ideas you engage with, and are either the reason you are going to grow beyond your potential, or they are going to be the ones holding you back from achieving it. So your personal circle will do that for you, or do that to you. Depends on how you look at it. All right. Number 5, we're talking about 15 ways that you know you'll never be rich if you are exhibiting these traits habitually. Right? Number 5, you lack discipline. If you lack discipline, you will never, ever be wealthy or rich unless you hit the lottery. Right? If you think this is going to happen overnight, that you're going to strike gold, get rich quick, or hit the big score, you will die waiting for that day. Building anything requires time, focus, and discipline. Even more so when it comes to your money. The sooner you realize this, the sooner you can begin taking the small steps that will take you where you need to go. Disciplined people get things done, no matter how they feel about it. If you can't master your own actions, how do you expect to master the world you live in? Discipline. You can't establish and develop discipline, you'll never be rich. You'll never build wealth, right? Number 6, you don't have any investments. We're talking about 15 ways. Now, this is part 1. We're going to hit 7 today, and we're going to hit the rest on Thursday. But this is part 1. Number 6 way that you know that you'll never be wealthy. You don't have any investments. My mentor, Brian Bean, says if you don't have any investments, you're not even on the road to build wealth. And I know some of y'all are still saying in 2021, that's complicated, Cortez. I don't trust the banks, Cortez. Hey, man, listen, this is a judgment-free zone here. Right? This is a judgment-free zone. Hey, Lisa from the Empowerment Network. Shout out to my Empowerment Network family. Thank you for tuning in. Number 6, if you don't have any investments, listen, you cannot work your way to wealth. At some point, you have to get your money working for you. In fact, I'm going to show you how money works and how you cannot outwork compound interest, right? No matter how small, learn, understand, and experiment with investments. An investment is something that will make you more money than you put in. These are split into 2, active investments and passive investments. Active, you invest money and time in your own business. This is where 90% of my investments go, back into my media empire that I'm building, my time, energy, and effort. That's where 90% of my investment goes. But your passive investment might be an apartment that you rent out, might be a mutual fund that you invest in that you're letting grow over time, might be an infinite banking policy. Yeah, we're going to get Carmen and Darius from Wealth Nation on the show to break that down for y'all, right? Might be day trading is an active investment, right? are you even on the road to wealth? Right? Put money in the 401k. That's somewhat of an investment, but you got to understand how to use that. You got to get terminology and perspective, right? Let me hit you with number 7 because I want to show you guys what you could be doing with some of your money and how investments can grow for you. Number 7, you don't have financial goals. You don't have financial goals. If you don't have financial goals, you will never be wealthy. Because how can you hit a target that you don't even have? You're not even aiming at anything. Let me put it this way. People who are going to be rich make it their business to get rich. It's a priority for them. They set up financial goals and then act in accordance to what it would take to achieve them. Period. You can't say you're going to get rich someday. You can't get rich. Say you're going to get rich one day. One day and someday are not days of the week. Most people never wonder why they don't earn more. They just live with their current situation. If you don't start breaking it down, looking at how much and how are you getting paid, you're doomed to stay poor. Now watch this. Before I get my answer to the question of the day, I'm going to show you guys something, right? How many of you guys think that you can discipline yourself to find $100 per month to invest? $100, right? And when they say pay yourself first, that thing is so real because here's what I know about paying yourself first. If I got my first paycheck in the month, if I got my first a bit of income in the month, whether it's from my business, wherever it came from, if I got it on the first day of the month and I took it and I paid myself and my rent was due on the 15th of the month, do you know that I will figure out in those 14 days how to come up with my rent? Because that's what we do. But here's the flip side of that coin. If I paid my rent first, do you know I will make all kind of excuses in the world why I can't come up with $100 to invest? How many of you guys think that you can find $100 per month to invest? I'm going to show you this financial calculator real quick. See, some of us won't make the necessary sacrifices in life because we don't know the possibilities. We don't know the potential outcomes. So we're saying to ourselves, is it even worth it? Right? I'm 47 years old this year, June, right? So I'm going to say monthly periodic table. I'm going to say no matter what, come hell and high water, guys, I'm going to find a way to invest $100 every single month. Excuse me. I know that if I did that, I could get 16% rate of return on my investment. I'm going to do that for 30 years so that I have something to pass down to my children, right? Now, when I hit calculate, this is how you got to start thinking. And this is how, if you don't have a goal, you can't get there. Now, if I did $100 per month for the next 30 years, at 47, I'll be 77. That $875,375.90, is it worth doing? Is it worth finding $100 a month, making that a habit and a priority for you? Is it worth it so you can pass down nearly $1 million to your children? Watch this. What if that was $200 that I found every month? What if I didn't actually have to have the NFL package, the MLB package, and that saved me $20 on my cable? What if I didn't actually have to eat out every day when I go to work and I found an extra $30 a week there, right? Could I find $200 a month so that I can give 1.7 million to my children when I leave this earth? See, without a goal, you don't have a reason to sacrifice. Now, how many of you guys, let's be honest, now that you know what's possible, you're willing to make some changes and create some areas of sacrifice because you know what's possible. You know the potential. See, a lot of you guys had no idea how a measly $100 a month could grow into almost $1 million in the next 30 years. Right? Now, I would go a little bit deeper, but we're at the end of the show, man. Maybe when we come back on Thursday, I'll take you on a deeper dive on how if I took half of that and gave it to my sons, and then I put the other half, let it keep growing for another 25 years to give it to my grandsons, you guys couldn't even imagine how much that would grow into. How much our family would be worth in 2 generations if I made some tough sacrifices, right? But I got to get on to the question of the day, man. We are at the top of the hour. So, question of the day. Some of you guys I don't think nobody answered the question of the day, man. What's wrong with y'all this morning? The question of the day is, what is your strategy for overcoming fear, right? What is your strategy for overcoming fear? It's not too late if you want to answer the question of the day. Even if you're watching the replay, just put QOTD and then your answer. And that's how I know to put your name in the drawing to win the free vacation, right? Question of the day. What is your strategy for overcoming fear? Here's my strategy, guys. I ask myself 2 questions. First, looking for some sponsors of your show. And you got to call and ask these people will they sponsor your show. I'm scared to say, I'm scared to do that because that's not me, right? That's something that I've never done, something I've always run from, right? To be honest. But I asked myself this question, Cortez, what's the worst that can happen if I pick up the phone and I call somebody and ask them if they wanted to sponsor the Cortez Hustle Show? The worst that can happen is they can say no. So you ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? We're talking about what's your strategy for overcoming fear, right? So I asked myself, what's the worst that can happen? Then I asked myself, what's the worst that can happen if I do this? Or I'm sorry, what's the worst thing that can happen if I don't do this? What's the best thing that can happen if I do this? And then you know what I think about? I think about being a young man and I first started having children and I would be like, man, I'll die for my kids. Right? How many of you guys have ever said that before or felt that? Man, I will die for my kids. You're watching a movie and you see somebody attacking somebody's kid. You're like, man, they're going to have to kill me. Right? I'll die for my kids. Yeah, I'll die for my kids. But you won't pick up the phone and call somebody and ask them to sponsor your show for your kids? Wait, what? Wait, you will die for your kids, but you won't build a business for your kids? You will lay down your life. You will lose your life for your kids, but you won't introduce yourself to a stranger and network and build a relationship so that you can help add to your empire for your kids? This is how I get over my fear. What's the worst thing that can happen if I do this? What's the worst thing that can happen if I don't do this? Right? This empire that I'm trying to build, this media empire that's going to rival Ted Turner and Walt Disney one day. If I don't get sponsors, then this whole thing could crumble, right? That's the worst thing that could happen. If I don't do this, what's the worst thing that can happen if I do this? Hey, I get a sponsor and we roll. And then I think about all the times where I said or I felt, man, I'll die for my kids. Yeah, you'll die for them, but you won't take a cold shower for them in the morning. If that's going to rejuvenate your cells and you come out a different person every day. You'll die for your kids, but you won't build a business for them. You'll die for your kids, but you won't invest $100 a month for them. Just asking. But I got to go, guys, because of my relationship with the Empowerment Network. They've got another show coming up. So I appreciate y'all all for tuning in, man. Deborah answered the question of the day, says, I do a meditation of overcoming that fear. I also asked that question, what's the worst that can happen? Till I talk to you guys next time, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.